Good evening, y'all. What is up? Happy Jupiter. I hope that y'all are having a wonderful Thursday, that everything's going wonderful. You had a great week. It is your favorite backwoods brujo, Papa Rose, also known as El Gran Papatillo, not Tapatillo, but just as spicy as, bringing you subjects and discussions on the day in the life of a backwoods brujo, how we do down here in the beloved in La Casa de Juju, because the Casa de Juju makes products. We make oils, we make powders, we make lotions, we make materia magica and curios for those interested in such wonderful things, as well as offering divinations, pap workings, and mentorships. If you are into that and you're new to the channel, then please jump on in, hang out for a little bit, and subscribe, please. Give us a like, share us like Tic Tacs, and if you don't know what Tic Tacs are, please Google. I know I'm showing my age, but Google's a thing. And like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell so that you keep up on all of these wonderful subjects and my rantings and ramblings and little bits of information. Because who knows? Like they used to say in Fat Albert, you might learn something by the time it's all done. But I digest. So today I wanted to tell a story because I missed a couple of days. It was been busy, running around. Sometimes, we get lost in the sauce. But I always wanted to reach out to all of my lovely fans and lovely peoples out there and give you that juju love from down here. It's come to my attention that people don't know what the nucks are. Now, first let's talk about one thing. Since it's Temple Thursday, we're going to talk about things that happen in the temple of La Casa de Juju, where we talk about spiritual things. We're going to talk about one of my favorite things, divination. I'm always talking about divination. I'm a big stickler for divination. And speaking of which, yes, we do offer divinations, mentorships, like I said, mentorships, divinations, one-on-one coaching, life coaching as well, things like that. But I used to divine from my family, all my family, in one way or another reads. Some people do playing cards. Some people do the Spanish playing cards. If you know La Baraja Española and how they used to play Brica, well, those are used also for divinations. Some used, of course, the initiated santeros and santeras would throw the Erindi Logun, people knew Coco, all the different divination systems that were used in my family. But I was one of the few only ones that did tarot. I was a breakout kid, right? And I got it and I loved the way it looked. And they used to call me, I mean, look at little white light with his tarot deck, like they're cute, Meanwhile, they're over there like pretty much divining with entrails and like making fun of me. I was very funny. I was a bullied child. But yeah, well, I liked tarot. I always loved tarot. I vibed with it. I studied tarot, loved tarot. And as I went from tarot, I started evolving into other like different decks because everybody starts with two different decks. I've noticed they either start with the Coleman Smith or Rider Waite tarot deck, and others will do the Tarot de Marseille or one of the many different incarnations of the Tarot de Marseille. I had one of them, and it was El Tarot de Español. And it was great because everything was in Spanish. It looked very woodcut and nice. I still have that deck. I have it for my gitana. For those that know, And I went on to the Rider Waite, and then I went on to, other different decks, and I've collected them over, and I loved tarot. After a while, a lot of my ancestors, I used to see other different divinations that they do. My family was all about dominoes. That's why I do the domino of the day. They used to throw dominoes all the time. Dominoes is a Caribbean pastime. That is like the Super Bowl in Puerto Rico and in Jamaica and in all through the islands and in Florida and even in the South too. Dominoes is the thing. Don't mess with the dominoes table. But also dice. So a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and as you watch and see. And I used to be like, some people threw 7 cockle shells, if you know, you know. Some people threw other things, and I started looking at this type of claromancy, which is throwing lots, that type of divination. And I said, I started making little notes and learning what I could. But I was really involved in my cards. After a while, I went from tarot to my beloved Lenormand because I said, let me build a bridge from my, kind of image-laden divination decks to the old playing playing card oracles. Maybe this will build a bridge to my ancestry and all these bullies I call my family that are still reading playing cards. I mean, literally, like poker, playing cards. Bicycle is a big thing, not just for playing card enthusiasts that play actual games and go on the circuit, but also playing card readers. They like that bicycle stuff. It's heavy, and I kind of am with them on it too. So I got my Lenormands, and I thought I'm building a bridge, and I could hear the chuckles in the background all the time, and I never understood why. It'll make sense in a minute. Stick with me. Finally, I started going back because you know how you go and you do your own thing and you then go back. It's always a good thing to go back and look back through the research, back through the tradition, back through the roots. And I was having that Renaissance feel of reliving the traditions, reliving the ancestry, tapping back into the deep root. And that's a long time when Casa de Juju made its first incarnation because we're going back to that energy. And as we're building up, I'm start messing with dice because I'm like, what would happen? I started adding dice, or I would add, 4 shells. Everybody does this, so I'm not throwing stones, and I did my things, but somehow the dice kind of stuck, and then I started divining with more and doing more research, getting all my notes together, and I was like, oh, okay. And I took a wonderful geomancy class with my brother Robert Richard, Sir Arius, one of my favorites, and I learned a lot in that class. And y'all always keep aware that you can learn from anybody. We're always learning, and if you stop learning, that's when there's a problem. You must always be open to learn as well as teach. And as a teacher, as I do teach classes, I'm doing classes later on this month about certain esoteric subjects, and I'll put the links in the comments below. I love teaching, but I also open myself to learning. You must always open yourself to learning because you never know what you can learn. Even if it's somebody else's lasagna recipe, but you've been doing lasagna for years, there's something you can always learn. There's something you can always pick up. So I took this class and I was like, wow, eyes open. That only fueled my interest in not only researching my dice, but also researching other different divination systems that kind of overlapped them, like geomancy or close to. And on that, I started building up. And after a while, I started teaching how to read dice myself because I gotten really good at it. And I'm like, I want to share my insights because I like sharing. And it sort of then began to develop. I taught people how to read dominoes because dominoes is a wonderful, amazing oracle in and of itself, and there's ways to do that. And yes, I do teach classes on all of these things. Get with me. But the dice took on their own form, and some people will throw 1 dice, some people will throw the hot 2, some people start throwing 3 dice, and there's a certain way you do it. Some people will do 4. I was doing 4, and then somebody gifted me different colored dice, and I started putting a little extra bit on this dice divination where each color vibrated so well to a different element, because red was fire, this beautiful like dark blue was water, this white with yellow was air, this golden tiger's eye earthy brown look was earth. So I could incorporate all those elements as well into the reading. It got richer, it got deeper, and then again the chuckles. Remember we talked about the chuckles and the laughing? Yeah. No, I'm serious. I'm not being, he's having a psychotic split on YouTube. No. This was actually when you start getting those messages and you're in tune with your ancestors. Sometimes they won't really talk like, my son, you have the force. No, it'll just be an intention, a move, a kind of natural thing, like, that feeling that mom pushed you over here to put that extra little bit of salt. That's that love. Those are messages for me. Those are instances of spirit. And I usually get led by that. And also divination, to divine for the divination works, as well as research. Because you have to have your hands in both worlds. Divination uses a little bit of this, a lot of this, but also alignment. So align yourself and believe in yourself, because we tear ourselves down way too much. And giving ourselves that self-confidence and that love, it's a thing. It also helps to, when you start seeing things lock so well with the divination, you're like, oh wow, I spook myself sometimes, y'all, I swear. But I digest. We move on. I started adding these little things, and then I said, what would happen if I took these dice let's have a wild card, a wild dice. And somehow out of nowhere appeared, and I'm seriously, I have a lot of D&D fan friends that I hang with. I used to play. I used to also play. Yeah, I know, surprising. Whatever. I used to play a lot of that and Vampire the Masquerade. Again, whatever. It was just chill. It was a really good game. If you don't know, you know, and if you do know, you know it was Toreador all day. So, hella nerd. What happens? I started putting together this dice and a D20. If you don't know what a D20 is, it's a dice with 20 different sides on it. And each one of those 20 corresponded to a different tarot card and also a different numerological meaning. So that wild D20 came into play so that there's five, and I always like odd numbers in divination because it's just a lucky thing. And also five elements, 5 points on the body, 5 points of the pentacle, whole different things, a whole lot of different energies of five. And I said, five is the wild card. You need a wild card no matter where you go, right? So then I said, great. That added an extra layer, and it began evolving and evolving and evolving. And finally, I turned around, and there's a little red glass heart, and there's a bone, and there's another bone, and there's there's 7 shells, there's a button, there's all these other objects that came, and each one meant everything. And I kept learning and progressing until finally, what started as dice divination to, reground myself in the traditions of the family and something that's a little more earthy, it blossomed into an amalgam of ancestral knowledge, spiritual gnosis, and research that I had done from Greek, Romani, and Iberian ways of divining, as well as divining from different Chinese treaties that I went through, because a lot of Chinese folks did emigrate into the Caribbean through the research, and they brought with them dice and dominoes and all these things, and so that was another level, and I sort of made that together, and so far it has not only been amazingly accurate, amazingly aligning, and it opens up like an a force, a space that allows for flow, that allows for that energy of let's touch and see what your ancestors would like to have with you, or these are energies you need to go away from, and it makes it a space to breathe. It becomes a real spiritual guidance and path working system for me. It became that for me and for so many others. And so that's what the knucks are. And what I meant was knuckle bones, because dice were originally made from the knuckle bones of goats or other sacrificial animals. And they were always used for divination and also for playing. So they run that line between luck and fate, that little liminal energy, which is so good for divination and just like gives that spark. And each other part was like, well, there's some bones, and knuckle bones, knucks bones, ha. And that's where that name came out. That is my thing. This is something that I am very happy and kind of give myself my ego boost of this system was forged by me, and it works. And I teach people how to work with it as well in certain degrees. So that's what that is. That is the explanation. So when you book a divination with me, and we sit for an hour to read, to open up the Nutbone session, that's what's happening. I send you a picture of what it looks like. You may not know what the heck it means. You may not be like, oh, this is a great picture. It looks like a red wall. Let's put it on the wall. No, but you have it there, and we can cross-reference it. We can come back to it. We can work from it and remind ourselves of the messages that came through. And also we keep records as well. So we can build from this and say, okay, well, in this part of the reading, this is what was happening. So let's open up here, and you can always reference back. And I tell people monthly to bi-monthlies should be a good thing for people to have divination-wise, and also to learn a divination system for yourself. That way you can begin to rely on that energy force. And even though people might say, oh, you're shooting yourself in the foot, but I'd rather you know who you're dealing with, what you're dealing with, and how to deal with your own spirits and energies, so that if you do need to come to a competent diviner, spiritual guide, and teacher, you go to one that can give you what you needed to help you in your evolution, rather than just, it's 911 and you can't make a move without. No, we have free will as well. Again, divinations are roadmaps. There, nothing is etched in stone except for one thing, and we're gonna get there when we get there, and you know what I mean. But divination is how we get there. It's kind of like the roadmap. It's guidelines. It says, hey, don't go into, don't piss on the electric fence. Don't jump in that bottomless pit. Try to avoid the rattlesnakes. And hey, there's a really cool little side quest you can do here to help you get to where you're going. That's essentially how I look at it. Yes, I said side quest. I played D&D. We spoke about this already. So, and it also helps you with different things and helps you to not just avoid problems, but also bring things in. Let's see what we can do to bring this positive energy in and work with it. And that's how I feel divination is. We're working with people and what they are bringing with them and how to work with it for their advantage. Okay, I hope that cleared things up. And it's also a great story to tell. It also reaches out. And again, business. We are still running. Speaking of divinations too, we are running a sale on the classes that I teach, and I will leave again more information in the comments section. Please take a look, peruse with it, and they will be offered at a discount price so that you can enjoy, and it is there until the 12th of April. And so get with me on that. Also, we are doing a buy one, get one half off on our spiritual oils. So if you are interested in getting oils like Saint's Blood or Acrostic Eye, which is a psychic enhancer, Joy Luck, which is about happiness, joy, and good fortune, 7 Drops of Love, Skeleton Key, which is a road opening, success bringing blend that helps with those energies, aligning with them, and using them in your own works. And that's also, you can be like a powder and oil, 2 oils, oil and a bath crystals, whatever it is. Find out what's up and get with me on that. And also classes are coming up as well. New classes being taught this, not the recordings that you can buy that are on sale, but new classes that are going to be taught this year. We are doing working and exploring the Master Book of Candle Burning, which is an old classic book of root working, conjuring, hoodoo, that was translated into many different languages and has an interesting history of itself, but it also gave instructions on how to work with candles for your spiritual works, for your calling blessings and other different rituals you could do for yourself. Again, classic. Everybody has one. Everybody knows of it. So that's going to be a class on that one. We're going to be doing a class on everyday elemental magic, how to work with the elements on an everyday and incorporate their energy into your life. And also we'll be doing, yes, I am doing Canna Juju on 420 this year, where one uses the mystic herb in spiritual rites and in your mystic rites to help with divination as well, to take the stigma off and show you how one that is already doing this can incorporate this noble plant spirit into their magical workings. So keep an eye out for that. Again, links are going to be below. And I think that is it for now. I know I'm coming at you with a lot, but I hope the story entertains you. I hope that you hang with us. Oh, wait, before I leave, today's domino, speaking of, was 6-6, and I have on Instagram a breakdown of it. But essentially, 6-6 is a domino number. It's a double 6. It means balance. Here we're balancing chaos and order, good luck and craziness. And this was a day just like that. If you've been going between the two extremes trying to keep yourself together, you were in the flow of this divination. It pretty much is saying take a break, take some time for yourself, meditate, get to some water, give yourself a cool bath. It's okay to do bath salts or bath crystals. Let me clear that up. Bath crystals, and have them there, and let those herbal essences help you out. We make those. Or even if you just do a sea salt and apple cider vinegar bath with a little bit of a couple drops of lavender, just something like that to calm down and unwind. Blessings are coming in disguise, so keep your eyes open and accept the good, because there is good to be accepted. This is about cooperation, so As long as you're diplomatic, calm, cool, and chill, we can work. But keep your boundaries firm too. Again, divine balance of chaos that's happening around you and the order within. And again, I hope all this helped. I thank you for hanging out with me. Again, please like, share, ring the bell, talk to people about me, share me all over the place, and enjoy this video. And if you have any questions or anything at all, don't be afraid to get in the comments with me and float me a note, because that's all she wrote. I'm wishing y'all some peace, some love, and lots of good juju. Y'all, take care of yourselves and each other. Be kind. And have a great one. Night, night, y'all.